Everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
All right, well, had one SEC leading receiver on already on the show in Chris Doering, and now we go to another guy who led the SEC in receiving, and Lee McGriff. Lee, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you, Pat?
I'm doing good, and of course, Lee, the color analyst for the Gator games, and it's been so great to have him back and doing it for the last few years. How many years has it been now?
You know, Pat, I lose track. Mick tells me it's 22 or 23. You know,
does that include you took the little sabbatical.
Yeah, I went, I think it was about 10 years. And then when Travis came to Florida, I stopped his freshman year. And then, of course, I never thought I'd get the opportunity to come back, candidly. And they asked me after Travis was finished, but then my son, Britt, played for the University of Central Florida, played for UCF, and I said, well, I got to follow him. So that ended up being 10 years total. And then I came back.
Yeah, and everybody's glad to have you back and doing a great job as always. But I want to talk a little bit about you as a receiver at Florida, because you had to endure going from one offense to a wishbone and still managed to have a great career as a receiver.
Well, the option was very much alive in the 70s, late 60s and through the 70s. And so in my actually in the middle of my junior year, with a change of quarterback, when David Bowden lost his job to Don Gaffney, which, not to go back too deep, but that occurred because Nat Moore broke his leg. He was our great running back, and our outside game had gone away. Before that, we were doing well with David throwing and Vince Kendrick on the inside and Nat Moore on the outside. Nat Moore could catch it too. But when Nat went away, we lost our outside game, and Coach Dickey decided to go with Don Gaffney and put the option in. And excuse me, when we did that, we ended up winning 5 in a row that had never been won before. As you recall, Pat, we beat Auburn at Auburn, which was a first in the history for the Gators. Auburn, Georgia, Kentucky, Florida State, and Miami in a row. And so it changed at mid-season in my junior year. And then in my senior year, Coach Dickey went and completely moved to the wishbone, which made me, in most situations, I was the only wide receiver out on the field. But what you do, but most people don't understand, when we threw it, they threw it to me. It's not like it's not like they had 50 reads and how many of the 5 guys are they going to throw it to. It was intended to come my way. And there was a period of time when Chris Doering played, when Travis McGriff played, and the numbers that those guys were putting up remain pretty mind-blowing, phenomenal. But my numbers, which Mick in particular and everybody in the booth used to like to tease me about, in today's schemes, with today's Gator players, my numbers are as good or better as what the guys are catching today, even with 5 wides. So from that standpoint, I can't complain in reflection of what happened, because I did get my turns, and as you said, relative to the rest of the conference and actually the nation, I was catching about as many balls as anybody.
We had Don Gaffney on the show last week, and he was great. It was great talking to him. And one of the last questions I asked him was, when you threw the ball in the Georgia game, did you think you had thrown it out of the end zone? And for those of you who don't know, Florida's down 10-3, right? 10-3. They make this unbelievable drive, which Lee makes a great catch diving on the sideline. And then the touchdown that they score, he goes up in the air, and I don't know how he does it. He gets up. He could have dunked for that one brief moment. And then they get a 2-point conversion to Hank Fulberg, and Don said he threw that one a little low. But I said, did you think he had thrown out of the end zone? And he said, I knew I'd overthrown it.
It wasn't overthrown when it was all said and done. It was a completion. On that play, it was 4th and 8, as you recall. Mm-hmm. And on the prior play, the call by Jimmy Dunn was a screen pass to Vince Kendrick, if you recall that situation. And Vince, who actually was a very good receiver as a back, dropped a screen pass. He could have walked in the end zone. And it to Don Gaffney's credit, it could have really disheartened him, because now we got 4th and 8, do or die, to either get a first down or a touchdown. So, I'm sure he felt a little pressure, but he drops back to throw it. And Pat, right, I know you've seen it if you recall, right as he was getting ready to throw, he took a little step up, and Burton Lawless, our offensive guard, came and picked off a blitzing Georgia defender to let him get it out of his hand. So on one hand, he may have slightly thrown it high, but on the other hand, it was a pretty pressure-packed situation.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. Obviously, you guys go forward and you have some good years, and then you end up with Travis playing, and that had to have been such a great feeling to not only have your son on the team. I know people, I meet them all the time, that they do have a son on the team, and they're bursting. He doesn't play. He's a walk-on. But to have your son end up setting the record for most yards receiving, that had to be a good feeling.
Pat, it was an incredible experience. I can tell you, being the dad of a player was more challenging than playing or coaching emotionally. And at times, I had to be reminded to enjoy this, because at every step of the way, Travis and my paths, being a receiver, coming to Florida, doing what we were doing, I knew so much about what he was experiencing. I understood what they were doing offensively. And so on one hand, it was exhilarating. On the other hand, it was gut-wrenching, because of just the struggles. I mean, the struggles he had are like most in a program like that, with a bunch of great players, and not the least of when he tore his ACL in his sophomore year.
That's right.
And of course, when it's all said and done, he did an incredible job of healing himself and coming back and being better than ever. But when it happened, based on my age and what I knew about an ACL, I thought, my goodness, it's over for Travis. Mm-hmm. This is it, end of the road. So there were all those kinds of things, but it was an incredible experience.
Yeah, he told me a funny story when he was a freshman, that he's standing in line, to get some food, and Coach Spurrier walked up and goes, "Travis, your hamstring looks hurt." He goes, "What do you mean?" "No, Coach, feels great." And he goes, No, you're out. Pulled hamstring, we're redshirting you.
It is. That is exactly how it went, Pat. You remember it well. And Steve did it in the Steve Spurrier way, nonchalant. But at that point, Travis was playing and caught some balls. And, that was the other thing, a part of Travis's journey. And I really believe what I'm about to say. Travis was a part of the greatest receiving group, recruiting class in the history of Florida football. Not close. Ike Hilliard, Riedel Anthony, Jaquez Green, Nafis Karim, and Travis. Every one of them played, started, caught a bunch of balls. Right. And 4 out of the 5 were first-team All-SEC and some level of All-American. And actually, all of them at some level of being a they call finalist or semifinalist. What an incredible group. And as the rabbit's foot in Coach Spurrier's pocket that he seems to have had his whole life, he stretched that group out over a 5-year period perfectly. So there were times when Travis felt like he should have been playing more or catching more balls. And I certainly understood why he felt that way. But the group of guys he was with, they all had to take their turn. So that was an extraordinary time to be a wide receiver.
It was amazing. Especially when you consider how all the winning. I mean, you know it better than anybody, Lee. It's a lot more fun when you're winning games, when you're competing for championships and having a chance to win SEC titles. And I know that probably haunts you, that 75 team. That was a great team.
74 too, Pat. We beat Georgia like it was the case. That was what used to haunt Florida. That's why Steve Spurrier was so passionate about it. 74, if we beat Georgia, we lose by going. 73, we win it by going for 2 and get it.
All right.
And 74, same thing. It's like deja vu all over again, and we don't get it. We win that game, we probably win the SEC. So yes, but for Travis to be a part of that and playing in national championships, winning a national championship, SEC championship games, and Travis and his class never lost a home game. Never.
I know.
And when those things are happening,
the next year they lost.
That's how we do it, huh?
The next year they did lose a game. In 99 was when the streak broke. Yeah.
Right. That's right. So, again, when that was happening, well, this is what they do. This is who they are now. Well, my goodness. Reflect on that in history, that it was a 4-year stretch where never experienced a home loss. Maybe it was 5 years, actually.
Yeah. Pretty impressive. Before I let you go, I do want to ask you about what it was like for you this year to watch these games, the road games, in our offices up there at WRUF, and because of COVID, and for you and Mick to be up there and having to do it that way. And but I know you probably felt it was the safest way to do it.
I did, and I accepted it. Sometime I had to talk Mick off the ledge, but if we'd have been there and all the other commentators would have been at the games, then that would have been pretty gut wrenching, and it became it kind of became the norm, and it was the one sure way that we knew we could do those games. Because, if you'd have gotten tested to get on the flight and be with the team, the testing was extensive and all that went with it. And there actually were some radio TV people that got eliminated because they got tested. So we were able to do all the games. Of course, we did it in the stadium when they played at home. And then, of course, the away games, we did it at Weimer Hall, and it actually turned out to be a great experience. I mean, there's nothing like being at the game, but under the circumstances, it turned out to really be a good experience. And I think we did okay with it. I really do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. I didn't hear anybody complaining. Do you have any kind of timetable for how long you're going to do it, or do you just kind of let it go year to year?
Just kind of year to year. And I sometimes people ask about how that goes, and I'm not exaggerating. This has been since I've ever started it. I won't hear a word from anybody until about middle to late July, and I'll get an email saying there's a meeting. And just for fun, every year I respond to the meeting and say, does this mean you want me to do this year? So that's about how we do it. That's about how formal. It's a year-to-year contract. And so the answer is I'm going to do it as long as they'll have me and as long as it's fun. And I do have a grandson who's starting to move up in age. And, we got a couple, 3 years. But when he gets to playing, he's an athlete and he plays football. So if he's playing high school football on Friday night, that might challenge me, but we'll see.
Lee, it's always a pleasure to talk to you and to have you, and I appreciate your time. I'm going to save the World Football League story for the next time we have you on the show. We will get you on again, though.
Matt, one of the things you and I share is we grew up together. We were UF together, and you know a lot. And not because you heard about it, you saw a lot. So I look forward to that conversation.
All right, my man. Thanks so much, Lee. We appreciate it.
Thank you. See you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more of another duly noted podcast.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube, or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another duly noted podcast. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm starting a new thing on Friday, and we're looking for a new sponsor for it, and hopefully we can get somebody on board. We got such great sponsors so far. They've done a great job, but I wanted to start something that I did a lot in, I talked about this earlier in the podcast, but that I did for the newspaper, but it's going to be called the Friday Football Fix. There'll be a lot of different things to it. It'll be a lot of fun, I hope, and we're looking for a sponsor for that if anybody wants to get involved here. Of course, we appreciate our title sponsors, Titan MRI and ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. We just did the Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks before Lee McGriff came on, and now it is time for the Gainesville Quarterback Club. 3 things. I'm giving it to them. I'm putting it on there for them because they're doing such a great job. They're having Dan Mullen coming up next Tuesday. Yes, I got to get my dates right, but next Tuesday is April 6th, right? So Dan Mullen will be on. That'll be great to see him and see what he has to say. And they do such great work, and I appreciate them so much. So 3 things sponsored by the Gainesville Quarterback Club. Number 1, interesting story that I was reading the other day about how the Major League Baseball Players Association is at least considering not playing the All-Star game in Atlanta. They believe strongly in it's voter suppression is what this bill that they passed in Georgia is. And I'm not going to get political, but they feel strongly about it. They even asked them not to play the Masters in Georgia. Do you realize how stubborn those people are at Augusta? Are you kidding me? They wouldn't let blacks play in their tournament for years. They wouldn't let women be members of their club. And now because of one thing that happens in their state, which most of them probably voted for or helped, they're going to say, "Oh, how about if we play it down the street somewhere? So we can go over to South Carolina. It's not far away, and we'll play it there." No, that's not going to happen. But it's interesting to see whether you might see this. Don't forget that football game, SEC Championship, is in Atlanta every year, and if this thing gains momentum, and look, we never know how a story is going to unfold anymore, because it could be like nothing really happened, everybody kind of let it go, or it could just go nuts, and all of a sudden everybody's losing their minds, and things can happen. Could you see that move? I wish we'd had Greg Sankey on this week. I could ask him that question. We had him on a couple of weeks ago. So that's number one. Number two, when Rory McIlroy said that Bryson DeChambeau got in his head because of he was trying to hit the ball even further, he wasn't kidding. Watching him play, he lost. I think it was 6-5 to Ian Poulter in the match play. And on one hole, he hit the ball so bad, the ball ended up in a swimming pool. So they're showing the ball in a swimming pool. So I feel bad because I want Rory to be good. If Rory's good, golf is good. It's much better. Look, we all know that it's best when Tiger's playing and is in contention. That's when it's best. We don't even know if that'll ever happen again because of his injuries. But it's great when Rory's in there, you know. But Rory just, I don't know. There's just something that changed, and I don't know what it is. And meanwhile, Jordan Spieth is kind of coming on, so we could get back to where you had some of these great rivalries. But, you know, look, that course must do it in getting people's heads, because on Sunday, Billy Horschel shanked one. So that was a rare. You don't see that very often in pro golf, a shank, and you don't say it out loud either. I should know better than that. And finally, number three, I'm often very critical of things that are done on television or timings of games and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say, on CBS, I was watching the pregame yesterday. I guess it was Saturday, watching the pregame, and they flashed up a picture of Oscar Freyer. Now, he's the Grand Canyon University player that died in a car wreck after the tournament, when they got back and he went up to California and died in a car wreck. You know, normally you see something like that and you kind of, we're so jaded, we almost dismiss it because we're looking at it and we're like, I have never heard of him. You know, there's so many people die every day, it feels like, that we have heard of. So I love that they did that, though. They flashed that picture up there with the dates of when he was alive, and it made me want to go read more about the guy. And it turned out to be an unbelievable story, a guy who had grade problems and had to sit out a year, but he came back when they offered that, NCAA offered that extra year, and was getting his degree and was going to get his degree. And then you find out his sister also died in the wreck, and you're just like, this is a tragic, terrible story, but I'm glad I read about it. And I credit CBS for putting that picture up there, because that made me go in and do it. So that may seem like an esoteric thing for me to say, but I am saying it anyway. All right. Was it esoteric, Evan? Nah. All right, finally today, we always love our Adams Rib Company Gator of the Week, and we love what's going on with Adams Rib. Takeout place right next to my house. Are you kidding me? I think I could walk there and get food. Now, I mean, I'm not saying I want to, but I know I could walk just to there to get food. That would be great. All right, but the Adams Rib Co. Gator of the Week, we're going with Bobby Fink, who Florida finished third in the NCAA men's swimming meet. Went to a high finish, highest since 2017. He won 2 NCAA titles. Way to go, Robert, or Bobby, whichever one you want to go by. The NCAA meet record he set at 16 for the 1,650 meters freestyle. So Bobby Fink, heck of a job there, bro. Heck of a job. That's getting it done in the pool. So well done, and you are the Adams Rib Co. Gator of the week. That's right. No, the weekend. I'm sorry. Sometimes I forget what day it is. Of the weekend. Yeah. All right. So that'll do it. I think I blithered on long enough. I hopefully you guys have enjoyed the show. We appreciate certainly Lee McGriff and Chris Doering for coming on the show. I'm working on guests for Friday still. Definitely will have to, though. So we appreciate everybody for being a part of this, and especially to all of our great sponsors. That'll do it, and This is Pat Dooley for Evan saying, I am deep, I'm way back, and I am out of here.